All right, let's take you now directly to the Parliament viewers. The all-party meeting has convened a short while ago. Visuals coming in where right before the discussion on the measures, the retaliatory measures that have been taken and will be taken where the Pahalgam terror attack is concerned, all the leaders cutting across party lines observed a 2-minute silence to commemorate the memory and pay homage and tribute to those fallen to terror, 28 of them. The all-party meeting is now been underway for the last 40 minutes. All party leaders have paid tribute to the Pahalgam victims. Like I pointed out, a 2-minute silence was observed to commemorate the victims and pay tribute. It is the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh who is chairing this meeting in the Parliament complex. Attending, you can see on your television screen, there is of course Mr. Kharge, who is the party president of the Congress, LOP, leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, Supriya Sule. You have the Aam Aadmi Party, you have the TMC, you have the Samajwadi Party, and even smaller parties like OVC in attendance. I'm joined right now by my colleague Aishwarya Paliwal, joining us live from Delhi. Aishwarya, what more can you add?
Well, Preeti, one thing that the government at the moment is looking at doing is that they want the opposition to know exactly what the government will do. Getting the confidence of the opposition at the moment is the priority of the government, and also telling the opposition that the government is not sitting quietly on what has happened, what the next steps will be, what global leaders have been told. All those things will be told to the opposition parties, and obviously questions that the opposition parties want to ask, those will be answered. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be giving out answers. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will also be speaking, and Home Minister Amit Shah will be giving replies to all the questions that the opposition parties have. In fact, let me tell you one thing that the government is very clear about: as many questions as you want to ask, you can ask, and all the answers will be given. What exactly happened? Why did it happen? What is the next course of action? What the global leaders have been told about everything will be now told to the opposition parties, and they will also be given a hint of what to expect next, because that is something that the government wants to do. They want to make sure that the opposition understands how the next few days will pan out. The government giving out a clear message to the opposition, telling them that we will not let this pass. And the opposition also, Preeti, we have seen a very measured response coming in from the opposition parties also. They are understanding that this is an attack on India, and they understand that at the moment the best thing to do is to stand behind the government and to give a united front.
Stay with me, Aishwarya, because, viewers, what you see on your television screen is a very rare sight, something that we haven't seen in the recent past. And what has brought the opposition and the government together on the same page, and at least till now, the opposition is making the right noise by saying that we are behind you. You decide what you need to do, you confer it with us, you discuss it with us, take our feedback, and net with what the government decides in terms of what should be a befitting payback with no mercy when it comes down to Pakistan should take place with our full support. There have been political parties in this as well, like the TMC, which every political party which needs to do it has asked for accountability to be fixed, and what were the intelligence failures that actually led to a massacre and the bloodbath that took place at Pahalgam. Joining me is Piyush Mishra. Piyush, it's interesting because the government has not just invited all big political parties, but also personally called smaller parties like AIMIM to come join and confer, debate, and give what their opinion is in the current context.
Well, absolutely, Preeti. And what we are now learning is that the briefing is still underway, and all political parties have been invited, irrespective of how many members are there in one political party. So, as we are speaking, the government is briefing all political parties about the horrific Pahalgam terror attack. Where the government is most likely briefing about the steps so far those have been taken and what the government could take. So after this meeting, opposition could get a hint as to how the government is moving ahead and dealing with the situation. Remember that the government's briefing could certainly be on the lines of what Prime Minister today said. Prime Minister was in Bihar, where he made it very clear that terror will not go unpunished. We will ensure that every terrorist is tracked, hunted and punished. Also, the handlers of these terrorists are not spared. Remember that a message has also been sent out to the global community by the Prime Minister, and he has thanked to all the countries who are standing in solidarity with India. So as we are speaking, the meeting is underway. Most likely the opposition political parties would also be asking government some questions, because this incident is also glaring at few unanswered questions, which includes why security personnel were not present there when so much terrorism, so much tourists had congregated there at one spot. Security failure could also be one of the issues which opposition could raise during this meeting. So all questions are being answered,
Right.
and the government is briefing as to how it is looking forward to deal with the situation, and so far what steps the government has raised.
Well, there is a difference as well, and one, for our viewers to get a larger understanding. The government is approaching this very, very sensitively this time. And Piyush, weigh in on this, because when Pulwama had happened, a huge chunk of the opposition, which included the Congress, constantly said we were not taken into confidence. You never spoke to us on what you were going to do. And the government has clearly learned from that. And the government has made this move where you've had the top leadership. You had Rajnath Singh, the defense minister, who is chairing this meeting, speak to each and every political leader of the political outfit invited, saying that bring in your suggestions, come and let's take a decision together. Like I said, this is a rare sight in Indian democracy, at least in the recent past, where we've seen the opposition and the government come together on the same page. And, with that, Piyush, that lesson learned during Pulwama, handling the situation very, very differently, very sensitively this time. And the question that I touched on earlier, Piyush, is to pick up the phone and invite smaller parties, which usually would not have found representation in an all-party meeting, because there's a protocol which demands a certain percentage of vote across the India that enables you to find seat on the table. But doing so, because you had, a Sauddin Owaisi who felt disgruntled that his political party was not invited. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, picked up the phone and said, you might come in late, but come, we want you there.
Well, absolutely. All political parties have been invited, including AIMIM, Sauddin Owaisi, and he is also part of this crucial meeting. Remember that he is the man who was saying that the government should have so far taken the strongest possible action. And what is the government doing? Why there is a failure of a security apparatus there at Pahalgam? So he was asking few questions. So to clear all his doubt and tell him as to what the government is doing and what all could government do, the government is now briefing, and this meeting is being chaired by Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and other ministers who are also part of CCS. Interestingly, Preeti, we are seeing that every member which is part of a cabinet committee on security is present there, which is briefing the all political parties, which also includes Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah, Foreign Affairs Minister S. Shankar, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Remember that Nirmala Sitharaman was not present in yesterday's meet because she was in US, and she has also cut short her visit, and she is now back in the country. Despite not being present there, she is also there, as the representative of CCS. So we are now seeing as to how the top leaders of the government, all four ministries, those are there on Rice in a Hills, all of them in unison are briefing all political parties and telling them what the government has so far done and what it is planning to do. Also important to highlight that just before this meeting started, we also saw all political parties, including government leaders, paying 2 minutes of condolence to the victims who have lost their lives.
Right. I appreciate both of our reporters. You have Aishwarya and Piyush, who's tracking this meeting very closely. We're going to continue to go back to the both of them. Those visuals there that you just saw was that 2 minute silence as a tribute, as homage to those who've fallen to terror 2 days ago. 28 lives snuffed out because of terror, viewers. 28 families who will not know what life is anymore. All of that. A quick, we're going to cut in to our big debate, which is coming up. Stay tuned.
A terror attack that left India stunned. A powerful, tragic image of a grieving bride become the symbol. A terror attack that will forever leave an indelible mark on India's conscience. Agony, anguish, anger, as terror claimed 28 lives, forever altering the trajectory of 28 families. A grief-stricken India plots retribution, revenge, and retaliation. India responds with 5 stern actions: suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, closure of the Attari-Wagah border, revocation of all Pakistani visas, diplomatic downgrading, military and security operations continue. The Prime Minister today from Bihar, in a rare English address aimed at a global audience, gave a chilling message to Pakistan.
Today, from the soil of Bihar, I say to the whole world, India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers. We will pursue them to the ends of the earth. India's spirit will never be broken by terrorism. Terrorism will not go unpunished. Every effort will be made to ensure that justice is done. The entire nation is firm in this resolve. Everyone who believes in humanity is with us. अब आतंकियों की बची खुची जमीन को भी मिट्टी में मिलाने का समय आ गया है.
The Home Minister, Defence Minister held an all-party meet to apprise the opposition of developments. The opposition, though, with government on actions taken, raised questions of accountability and what was also a massive intelligence failure.
जो इतने मृतक और निहत थे हमारे नागरिक, हिंदू नागरिक जिन पर हमला हुआ, उनको न्याय तभी मिल सकता है जब आप एक आज ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग जो कि मांग हमने की थी 22 तारीख की रात को ही हमने मांग की, हमने ये भी मांग की थी कि प्रधानमंत्री की अध्यक्षता में हो, सबकी आप बात सुने, सबसे आप बात करें और फिर न्याय दिलवाने की तरफ कदम उठाएं.
ये बहुत सीरियस बात है और उसको हाई लेवल न्यूट्रल इन्वेस्टिगेशन का ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि ये देश का बॉर्डर का और इंटरनल सिचुएशन का सिक्योरिटी का बात है. ये क्या नॉर्मल अटैक है? प्लॉट क्या था? इंटेलिजेंस क्या कर रहे थे?
Revenge and retribution, but also internal accountability on intelligence failure. Let there be no mercy.
So all of that, retaliation, retribution, revenge, alongside accountability, alongside was there an intelligence failure, which clearly was, and the security lapses. All of that is being discussed as we speak, viewers, in the all-party meeting which was taking place in the Parliament. I'm joined right now by Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Adil Singh Bopuroy, National Spokesperson, Congress, will shortly be joined. All right, we already have Shaina NC, Shiv Sena, Anish Gawande, Spokesperson, NCP, Sharad Pawar faction would be joining us in a very short while. Adil, you know, there has been certain apprehensions the Congress has raised, but one thing I would reckon this time around is different, because the Congress was very vocal the last time we had faced the terror attack of Pulwama, that you were never taken into confidence. The opposition was never taken into confidence. The government this time very sensitively has handled the situation. The opposition has been briefed, is being briefed as I speak. There is a sense of, you know, togetherness in this, Adil, and I hope the Congress understands that.
Preeti, we are all distraught. 28 precious lives have been lost, and these voids can never be filled for the families. On behalf of the Congress Party, we send our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families, and we stand with them in this hour of grief. Coming to your question, today we stand with the victims of this reprehensible act, and we stand with the Indian state. The perpetrators must be brought to justice. Use the might of the Indian state, track them, and bring them to justice. This is the demand of the Congress Party. Number two, it is evident that there has been a monumental intelligence failure. Otherwise, during the tourist season, these attackers, these terrorists come, they carry out this murderous plot, and they get away. So therefore, the government of the day, since this is a union territory, the police, the intelligence agencies come under the Union Home Ministry, obviously must course correct and analyze this, that where did they go wrong and how did this failure happen. But on the larger issue, I think it is time. This is an attack on the soul of India, and we stand with the government. We expect that justice needs to be done. But just one caveat, and I say this with responsibility, and I say this as a citizen of this country. We urge the BJP not to use this extremely unfortunate tragedy for political gains. This is a moment of national solidarity. This is a moment of national mourning. Please do not use this unfortunate tragedy to advance political interest, and kindly rein in your trolls, your proxy trolls on social media who are using this incident to further inflame passions, who are using this to further widen trust deficits. I urge them to rein these people because they're doing a disservice to India.
Okay. All right. I want to bring in Syed Zafar Islam, and Adil, I'm going to circle back to you. And the question I'd ask you is, because there has been certain amount of retaliation measures that have already taken place, is the Congress happy with that? What is the Congress looking to add in that all-party meeting today? I'll circle back to you on that, but I want to bring in Dr. Syed Zafar Islam. Dr. Islam, the government's approach this time, especially to the opposition, is very, very different. There were charges that the government worked on its own without taking the opposition into confidence during Pulwama. You're not doing any of that. This time around, which is heartening to see. This is a rare sight in Indian democracy, sadly so, where the opposition as well as the government are coming together on the same page, discussing something which is of utmost national importance in favor of the people and without politicizing it. So in that sense, I would reckon, India's looking at it with a lot of heart at a time where India's plunged into grief. But Syed Zafar Islam, is the government willing at some level to also answer the questions which will be raised today, where it comes down to intelligence failure, where it comes down to security lapses, where it comes down to basic accountability, sir?
Well, first of all, I will definitely appreciate the responsible behavior of the opposition parties, because they are behaving responsibly. They are not making a statement which is totally unwarranted statement under the circumstances. And whether it's CWC or whether individually the comments which has been made, with the exception of Robert Vadra, all of them, and one more gentleman from Congress party in Maharashtra, with the exception of these two, I'm sure I can make a statement with conviction that everyone away from these two people have made a statement which is in line with all the political parties have made, and in line with the situation which all the political colleagues should have been making the kind of statement which was warranted from them. So, and they are standing with the government is standing with them. Since they are not making any political statement, it is important for you to also understand, and the people by and large will understand, that we have always attempted to engage the opposition party so that constructive discussion, deliberations, and debate can take place, and a decisive action can be taken with the support and the coordination and with the consent of the opposition parties as well. Today, it's very heartening to see that all the political parties have come together. They are united because it is not individually a political party or a government has to to take action. It is the country which has to take action. 140 crore people are watching, all the political parties, including the government. We are a responsible government. We want to engage every political party, irrespective whether they have one member or two members or many members. But we want to tell them that you please ask any question you have, irrespective of whether it is sensitive or insensitive. But you ask within because it is a forum to discuss. Instead of discussing outside, making a statement to the media, this is the forum to discuss every single thing, whether it's related to security or whether it's related to anything you want to ask, because they have been told, all the members who are attending from the political parties, they have been told to please ask as many questions, as difficult questions, because government is willing to respond to every single question they will pose. But what is more important, that instead of making a statement in the media, you have to understand that it is the government of the day have made it very clear under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister that we will take a decisive action. This action which has never been taken, unprecedented action which will be taken by the government, and we will teach a lesson to the perpetrators of terrorism and the people who are harboring terrorism in the country, and people who are, including handlers and sleeper cells, will be punished, will not go and punish something with the Honorable
Dr.
Prime
Islam,
Minister.
I'm glad because, for the first time, like I said, even in this debate, it's not that the opposition and the BJP spokesperson are going after each other. It's heartening to note, sadly, it's come under the circumstances it has. But if there has been a certain amount of responsibility that the opposition is functioning under, which it is, there's also a certain amount of responsibility that the government is doing so, which we haven't seen at least with the interaction between each other in the recent past. And I gave you that example of Pulwama, where the opposition felt belittled that they were not even taken into confidence on the measures that would have been taken. I'm going to circle back to the both of you. I want to bring in our other two guests into this conversation. Shine INC leader Shiv Sena, who's part of the NDA alliance, standing firmly with the BJP. Anish Gawande, spokesperson, NCP, Sharad Pawar faction. The NCP Sharad Pawar faction, Anish Gawande, has also raised certain issues that they want addressed in this particular meeting. But all in all, does the Sharad Pawar faction feel content with the kind of retaliatory measures that were announced yesterday, where it come, one of them, which is the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, and there are other very strict measures. What is it that today the NCP, because your party is being represented by Supriya Sule in this meeting, would add?
Preeti, I want to start off by saying that this was an attack on Hindus, but in response, we must unite as Indians. Supriya has been categorical in saying that our response to this tragedy must be as a country, and we stand with the government. I respect the Prime Minister for taking the front foot and making the statement that he did today. Supriya was the first to call for an all-party meeting, which will happen this evening, and she was also the first to call for a special parliament session on this issue. We must treat it with the utmost urgency, and we must leave aside differences that we have today to unite as a country across religion, caste, class, and every other division that the terrorists who attacked Pahalgam want to sort of incite and divide us on.
All right, okay. I want to bring in Shaina NC into this conversation. Shaina NC, and I want to say it for the benefit of our viewers as well, because why this is very different than what we've seen, in the past. Because usually to find space on the table, every political party would have needed a certain amount of percentage in terms of vote share across the country to even represent their party. But that hasn't happened. And that is also, in a way, great, where you've had the Home Minister who picked up the phone, because we know the likes of Asauddin Owaisi wanted space on the table, wanted to give their input, and he's invited them, even though, traditionally as per protocol, it would not have happened. So there's a lot of, with what we are seeing, the kind of solidarity is great. But on the other side, China NC, the government should be prepared to openly not just speak with the opposition and give their input, but also publicly come out and fix accountability. Because yes, we need to look outwards, we need to be united in solidarity in a befitting response with no mercy where Pakistan is concerned, but we also need to fix what's within, and that is and has been a massive security lapse and intelligence failure.
Firstly, Preeti, let me please say that my heart goes out to the 28 families. And as we all pay Shraddhanjali, I'm glad that India is united, the political class is united. And at the all-party meeting, there hasn't been any kind of petty politics. If at all, the government briefs all the opposition parties on the befitting reply that the NDA government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, will give. And I'm so glad that today, when he spoke on the soil of Bihar, he also addressed the international world community, saying that revenge is only part of India's befitting answer. This is a moment of national solidarity, and we won't spare any terrorists, irrespective of them being insulated by Pakistan or being given any kind of international funding. Them and their counterparts will all be finished. And when the Prime Minister says it, he does it. I think that everyone who believes in a sense of humanity and believes that their people have been wronged, if you take a state like Maharashtra, we have lost 5 citizens of our state. Our Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde did go to Srinagar. 65 people were brought back on the first special plane, then 184 on the second, and on the third continue. So I think every single leader in every party and every part of India is as proactive. And this is a great, great trajectory in the days to come. You have statesmen like Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah ji that lead from the front, going to find out exactly who plotted, how these perpetrators entered, and what is going to be an all-time solution. I only want to make a limited point. You know, there are certain people who are leading from the front. Let's have faith in them, because this is the elected government of the day, who have obviously done an exemplary job and oppose abrogation of 370. Unfortunately, this is the only incident. Okay. But let's not forget Pulwama, and let's believe, Preeti, that in the days to come, the befitting answer that India gives will make every Indian proud, and that can only be the true Shraddhanjali to the 28 lives. And this is not about Hindu versus Muslim. This is not about petty politics that certain parties are playing. Certain leaders have chosen European holidays over being here on ground. That's their prerogative. We are here to just say, whether it was Dr. Shrikant Shinde, who was present at the all-party meeting today, or Eknath Shinde, who had personally gone to Srinagar, our party is committed to stand with Prime Minister Modi and to be with him in every sense.
Ms. NC, I don't know, who's that swipe on who's taken a European holiday. I really don't know, but we'll maybe come back to you on that. But I want to go back right now to the Congress spokesperson in all of this, because Adil, you will remember during Pulwama, the Congress had openly come out and said that nothing has been shared with the opposition. So that's changed this time. You are being taken into confidence. Your opinion really matters. But what is that opinion, Adil? Along with what the measures that were announced yesterday, what is it that the Congress hopes to contribute and would like the government to retaliate? Because till now, there is no tactical measure that has been taken in terms of military intervention.
Well, Preeti, firstly, before I respond to your question, this is not the time for political rhetoric. This is not a time to pat backs or to make your political leader look larger than life. This is not the time. This is the time for national solidarity, for national mourning, and to come up with a coherent plan to teach these perpetrators of terror a lesson that they never forget. I was not in my previous piece exalting my leader. So I would urge the other panelists, this is not a time for a false sense of bravado or to sound more loyal than the king vis-a-vis your own leader. This is the time when all of us must come together. As far as the responses are concerned, there are, I'm sure, a bouquet of options which are available to the government. I'm not privy to all that. Mr. Chidambaram today, in fact, in the Indian Express has said that you must pursue an effective option which teaches them a lesson so that we can dismantle this terror industry which exists and which continues to bleed India. Coming to the larger point, I think nobody can run away. Even the most ardent supporter of the current dispensation also cannot run away that there has been a major security and intelligence failure. and somebody needs to look into this.
Okay.
I heard the families, the bereaved families. In fact, one of the bereaved family member was saying for 30 minutes nobody came to attend to the person who has shed his life. And had there
No,
been
there have been glaring loopholes, and I just want to move on, Adil, and apologies, I'm cutting you short, but I want to move on to the BJP spokesperson, Dr. Islam, because most of the families, and it must be said out loud, because while we are looking at a befitting response, and while we are looking at security operations, what must be touched upon was, yes, this valley was inaccessible. It was only accessible by foot or on a mule. It took over 2 hours for a medical ambulance to actually reach those who were shot. Some of them died hours later just because of loss of blood, and something that has been echoed by the family members who sat beside them and actually saw life leave their loved one drop by drop because they were not attended to in time. All of this needs to be taken into consideration, Dr. Islam.
Well, when incident like this, which is terrible by all standards, happens, then obviously every political party and more importantly, the government will definitely examine, introspect, and will definitely try to understand what went wrong. So that is something which definitely every government does, and this government will also do. But making this kind of a statement, this juncture I think, is totally unwarranted. Definitely, it is something which government will do. The army will do. Army will find out why and how they have been able to reach and target those innocent civilians. That is something definitely will be answered to the political parties and all the people of India. But what is more important at this juncture, to teach a lesson to the terrorist organization, the terrorists, the handlers, and the sleeper cells. And that is something which is a priority.
Dr.
And
Islam, you're bang on. Nobody's faltering from that. You're bang on that. But an incident like this, which we hope will never repeat ever, also teaches us to be prepared. Air ambulances, protocols in that, all of that needs to be in place. One more quick question, Dr. Islam, before I go across to the others. In midst of all of this, even yesterday, where we had, the Cabinet Committee on Security meet, the missing person in all of that, usually it is the Chief Minister of the state in which this, terror attack has occurred. There was no presence of Mr. Omar Abdullah in that. And that in itself seems to suggest that the government didn't want the Chief Minister of a state in which this entire operation has actually taken place. I understand it's a union territory. One understands that security is in the hands of the government and the Lieutenant Governor. But, the government could have included the CM.
Well, the Honorable Home Minister visited immediately after the incident to Srinagar, had a very detailed discussion and chat with the incumbent Chief Minister, and whatever they needed to discuss, they have already been discussed between them. Whatever he had to brief, he had already briefed the Honorable Home Minister, and I think it was important for the Honorable Home Minister to meet him when he was in Srinagar. Whether attending or not attending meeting is not that important, because his input was there with the Honorable Home Minister, and that is something which was important. It is important for him to be stationed in the state where his presence was more warranted than attending a meeting where his inputs was already given.
Okay, but many would feel that, maybe he should have also been apprised on what is the action, the retaliatory measures that were taken in place, and maybe he was informed of that later.
Yes. Just 10 seconds, sir. See, as far as he needs to be apprised, I must tell you, I convey through your channel to every citizen who's watching this program that the government is briefing everyone. Everyone who needs to be briefed is being briefed. I mean, you only said that when the government had decided initially that those political parties who have at least 4 or 5 MPs will be invited for this meeting. But when OIC Saab made a statement that I also want to attend, the Honorable Home Minister called him as well. That is the kind of...
No, you're right. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of rights that are taking place right now, but that doesn't mean that what went wrong should not also be broached. I'm running out of time, but I would like to give 20 or 30 seconds each, both to the NCP, Sharad Pawar faction and the Shiv Sena. Ma'am, China NC, ma'am, make your final comments.
I just want to make 2 points. One is that every strategy need not be exposed. I mean, we have to have faith in the government of the day, and our Prime Minister has always led with great exemplary courage in multiple situations. And let's not forget Pulwama. So I have absolute faith, as does every citizen of this country, that this is the elected government that we have reposed faith in, and they will make sure that things are on track. Okay. Punishment is given not just to the terrorists, but also those who are being insulated in our neighboring state, because this is a very strong government. So let's have faith and belief, and as we stand united, let's also understand, united we stand, divided we fall. So let's continue to have this
Anish Gawande, 30 seconds, sir, make your point. Final submission.
Preeti, as we speak, unfortunately, Kashmiri students across the country are facing the brunt of the tide of sort of emotions that are flowing through the country right now. In Prayagraj, they're being asked to vacate homes. In Punjab, they're being sort of targeted at universities. I encourage the government to also ensure that every single Indian across the country feels safe and that they too are protected in the days leading up to any action that is taken.
You know, fair point, and that's exactly the story that we're going to be on later, because all of this, viewers, if you're watching this and you're, standing on the sidelines and cheering, is misplaced anger. Let's let that be. I appreciate all 4 of you rather, who've taken the time out and joined us this evening. Thank you there.